And to help me explain that, I'd like to invite our next speaker on stage. Alexa, who's the next speaker?
Please welcome Stuart McLaurin, President, White House Historical Association.
Come on up, Stuart. I'm going to stay up here with you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Teresa. It's wonderful to be with you here today. How many of you have ever been on a tour of the White House? That's a pretty good number. But thanks to the magic of our collaboration with Teresa and Amazon Web Services, today, all of you are going to get to take a tour of the White House for the first time ever, and I'm going to explain to you how this magical technology is making a visit to the White House possible for everyone. We were founded by First Lady Jacqueline Kennedy in 1961 as a nonprofit, nonpartisan partner to the White House. Our job is the same no matter who the President of the United States may be. We reflect on the history of this great house going back to 1792 when George Washington laid the cornerstone and selected the site for where the White House is today. Well, Mrs. Kennedy, when she became First Lady at the ripe old age of 31 years old, created our organization, and the first order of business was this guidebook. And I'm holding in my hands the book that actually belonged to Mrs. Kennedy. This is her copy of the guidebook. She wanted a book that would teach and tell the stories of the White House for those who went through the White House. And to this day, every tour of the White House is a self-guided tour. Well, we have now evolved this 1962 version, which we continue to publish. It's in its 24th edition today. But we have now evolved this into the 21st century. We've taken this paper book, which was wonderful, and now technology is, as Teresa said, opening the doors to the people's house. Because the White House doesn't belong to any one president or any first lady. The White House belongs to you. The White House belongs to the American people. And we want people visiting from Topeka and Tucson and Tuscaloosa, just like people visiting from around the world, to have the opportunity to understand the house when they go through these self-guided tours. This is the app that we have created and launched just 2 weeks ago. And you have 3 experiences. If you do have the opportunity to go through the White House personally, this will bring to life those images, those paintings, those vases, those very special rooms on the state floor. If you're in Washington but not in the House, you're around President's Park, you can use the app and have the different spaces interpreted for you, from the East Room to the State Dining Room to the Blue Room to the Oval Office to the Cabinet Room, and you can understand those very special places. There's a third tour that if you're out of town and you're a classroom in Los Angeles or you're in an office in Tokyo, you can understand the White House and take a virtual tour for the first time ever, thanks to Amazon Web Services and our collaboration on this app. Here you go, and you can see some of the spaces that you'll go through. We actually test drove this in classrooms in California and the District of Columbia, where we went with students who are keenly in tune to the learning tools that they need and want and to understand. And then we're talking and getting feedback from students as they use it going through the White House over these past 2 weeks. There's a very fun feature. In fact, we've gotten a lot of positive feedback to this, and I want all of you to download this app, WH Experience, at the App Store. Here's the fun part. You take a selfie, and using Amazon recognition technology, it analyzes the spatial features of your own face, and it compares them to the official portraits of every president and every first lady, and it will tell you that you're 72% Jackie Kennedy or 24% Teddy Roosevelt. And then you can upload those comparative images to your own social media. It's a fun thing to do, and it teaches students and others about the history of our presidents. Now, the White House Historical Association happens to fund the acquisition of portraits of presidents and first ladies, so it's a little reinforcement of our mission in that regard as well. As I mentioned, Amazon recognition is the key technology behind that selfie feature, and we'll be rolling out other, perhaps AR, perhaps VR components of this app in the future. So I want to encourage everyone to download the app through the App Store. And tomorrow, we're going to have a session on our new chatbot. We've done 3 really transformative things with Amazon Web Services. There's this wonderful app that I've spent so much time on, but there are two other really great things. There's a digital library. We have tens of thousands of images of the White House that we own. And we've not been able to access those or search those or to provide them in a timely way to journalists, television and movie producers, students, scholars, White House correspondents, or anyone in this room that may be interested in images of the White House. But we can do that now because through our cloud relationship with Amazon Web Services, these tens of thousands of images, many of which have been kept literally in a domestic freezer from when they were taken during the Kennedy-Johnson early years of our founding. And now they're available, so it's like unpacking new stories of history that we didn't know existed because these images have been packed away. So that's the digital library. And the third thing is this chatbot, which we're using Amazon Web Services, Lex, and Poly technology, so that you'll be able to ask Alexa questions about the White House and its history, and you'll be able to go to our website, whitehousehistory.org, and type in your question and have it answered about the White House, its rooms, its spaces, and its history. So come to our session tomorrow at 1 o'clock on the chatbot and other things. We'd love to tell you more. Download the app, WH Experience at the App Store. And when you come to our session tomorrow or stop by the nonprofit booth, you'll get a sticker. And that will prove that you have downloaded the app. And because I know that she has, I'm going to give Teresa her very own sticker. There you go, right there.
I definitely have it downloaded early, and I got my tour of the White House as I went through the app.
That's great.
And one of the things that Stuart and myself and the team said, we wanted every student in the U.S. and around the world to be able to access and do a tour of the White House. Because I've shared, as a little girl from Kentucky, I never thought I would get to go through the White House. And I've been humbled to do it. Now let's make sure every student and every individual gets a tour of the People's House, right?
That's exactly right.
Stuart, thank you so much for your partnership on this. Download the app. Go hear about the chat box.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Thank you.
And send us, post your photos. I'd love to see them.
Yeah, post the photos.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Teresa.
It's a really fun app.